Hey everyone, Marnix here. I recently made a video about self-improvement and the overlap within game development. And within one of the subjects in that video, I was talking about getting healthy habits. Now, I didn't really touch upon it that deeply back in the video, but I figured that I would make a dedicated video, this one, to talk a bit more about what those specific habits are that successful game developers probably do. I do a bunch of them, the rest of the team here at Bite Me Games does a bunch of them, and I also talk to some other game developers outside of our team to hear what they are doing. And I think I have some really good habits that you can incorporate in your daily routine, starting now basically, and really help you day by day to accelerate your career as a game developer. So stick around. First habit is that a good game developer learns every day. What do I mean by learning? It could be anything, but probably the most obvious examples are learning to write new kinds of code, learning to implement new mechanics, learning a new engine, learning a new language, or learning, for example, if we're not looking at code, learning how to do 3D modeling, learning how to draw better, learn how to work with certain shaders or patterns or anything like that. And they do that every day, basically. Every day they set aside some time to study upon improving their craft, which in our case is game development. How you can fill this in is maybe you just watch YouTube tutorials or you read books about game development concept. We've got an upcoming video about that as well, where we dive a bit deeper into some really good books surrounding game development. Or maybe they have a course on Udemy or Coursera or wherever that also explains a bit more in how to draw, how to do game development in general, stuff like that. Key point is, every day learn something new. And then our second habit is to really plan. And not just have a plan about what to do, but actually plan the next day. So this is something that is general productivity. I do this a lot as well, is before I go to bed every night, I plan what am I going to do tomorrow. This is really helpful because you'll probably be having some project management solution, right? Where you have some kind of issues or a Trello board or whatever, and you know what needs to be done on your game. And you can plan the evening before. You can be like, okay, from this time till this time, I will be working on this issue, and then I'll be getting groceries from then till then, and then I'll be making 3D models. Whatever it is, by planning the day before what you're going to be doing the next day, you can wake up without that feeling of, what should I really do today? Because you yesterday already planned out for you today, what should I do? And it really saves you a lot of time having to just sit around where you don't really feel like doing anything, when you're like, I'll do something later, but you're not really sure yet what to do exactly. The next habit I've noticed is that a lot of game developers, they bring the games into their life. So they try to min-max their life, so to say. We all know that in games you have all these stats, for example, like your sanity, your hydration, your exercise, your mental health, whatever, your physical strength. And a lot of game developers, because we grew up probably playing games, we carry over these things into our own life. We turn everything into our own skill tree. Maybe we're not sneaking around and shooting bows and arrows at random people on the street. Every time they do something, they try to grade themselves a bit on a scale of how good am I at this skill, on a scale of 0 to 100. So maybe you're only maybe a 10 out of 100 on Blender, for example, for 3D modeling. But that way, by gamifying some things or giving yourself small quests, so to say, you make it a bit more fun and engaging, and we're really good at grinding out things in video games. So why can't we just grind things out in real life as well? That's basically the concept of gamifying. Instead of walking around in DayZ and having on your second screen a physical map and then trying to figure out where you are, maybe try doing that in real life, for example. And the next part kind of ties into the planning your previous day habit, and this having that schedule for deep work. So also something I covered in the previous video regarding productivity is having a set 2-hour period every day where you work without any distraction. You just get up or whatever and you have one singular issue, whether it's implementing a mechanic or it's drawing certain sprites. And for just those 2 hours, you don't open up your Facebook. You really try to focus as much of your energy into a specific task. Now, there are various other systems of doing work, Pomodoro and stuff like that, but I personally feel like deep work, really focusing in on one task and one really impactful task, really is the way to go. And then our fifth habit is health. This is one that really ties in well with the gamifying stuff, and that is things like going to the gym, for example. I know Sounds scary, but really you should go to the gym. It's really good. It's good for your health, and it's also a very good break from sitting behind your computer 8 to 12 to I don't know how long you're sitting behind your computer. I don't want to know really hours a day. But there's actually a second part that I want to talk about regarding health. So first of all, see if you can go to the gym. If not, try to at least get movement in, go for walks, stuff like that, go for bike rides. But ideally you want to do something strength-wise because hey, it's also just nice to build on our own body. Why play like Kratos when we can become Kratos in real life, if you know what I mean? But the second part that a lot of developers and people in general also skip on is how they feed themselves. Do you live off just Monster Energy and Cheetos? Well, this will actually impact how good your work will be. Sounds a bit weird, but hear me out. The way that you eat actually has a very big impact on your mental capacity. You maybe have noticed that if you like eat too much or you have a very big meal or something with a lot of pasta and rice and you get a lot of carbs in, after that meal you can't really focus anymore. You just want to curl it into a little ball and take a nap. And of course, when we're napping, we can't be working. So if we also take a look at what are we eating a lot of meat, eating a lot of vegetables, stuff like that, this will actually impact your mental strength. And also try to eat, regular intervals. Try to be a decent human being generally. Our sixth habit is that we limit the amount of decisions we have to make in a day. As game developers working on your own game or maybe even working in a team, constantly you will be bombarded with having to make decisions. How are we going to implement this mechanic? How should this building be modeled? What color should we use for the color palette or whatever? And these things can really drain a lot of your time and energy, and we want to actually limit them. And a problem that I've encountered with a lot of developers is that they spend too much time on unimportant decisions. So this is stuff like, for example, having your team go over 2 hours of back and forth between, oh no, I think this button should be placed left top, but then the other part of the team wants it right top, and you waste a lot of time that way. A good developer should be able to just be like, okay, I'm putting it there, I'm not even thinking about it, and whatever, we'll just deal with it. If anything ever comes up later, we can change it, but for now, we just want to keep working, so we're not going to spend too much time on this. This goes into your UI, this goes into your mechanics, this goes into basically everything, where you want to look at, okay, how can I make it decent? So don't just put like a huge button over your entire screen, for example, if we look at the UI case. Have a little bit of thought into it, but don't really make too many decisions. Also, if you're in a team, this is something that we've also had to learn is, don't run everything by your team every time you make something, because then you waste way too much time. Implement something, be like, hey guys, I made this. If you have any problems with it, let me know. Generally, they won't really complain because then it also takes part of their energy, unless it's really bad. And then if they do say something, you should change it. And then our final habit is that good game developers who really want to make their game a success actively look for feedback. Not just on their game, basically on anything they're doing in their life. But give an example of your game, of course, is very obvious. Hey, you want to play test my game, or hey, I have this new mechanic I just implemented, want to try it out and see what you think about it, to some friends that don't really know the full development cycle. Or even just stuff like, hey, how do I look? How is my breath? Stuff like that. Really looking constantly at how can they improve themselves, and not just thinking to themselves that, hey, maybe I could do this to get better results. No, actually asking other people. This is something that's really scary because, of course, you have to put yourself into a somewhat vulnerable position because you will not always like the answer other people give you. But if you do actually go through with it, you'll get a lot of actual valuable feedback that will really accelerate how fast you can improve upon life. So to summarize, first habit is learn every day, learn something new, whatever. Then plan your next day the evening before, so you wake up and you know what you want to do. Gamify your life. Make everything in your life a real skill, so to say, that you can track and actively seek upon improving it. Get an environment where you can work distraction-free for 2 hours a day, where you focus on a single task and don't deviate from it. Focus on your health, go exercise, try to go for walks, and also focus on what you're eating. Try to be mindful of not eating too much, too big meals, because it really kills your energy levels. Limit the decisions you make in a day, just implement it, and if through your playtesting it figures out that, hey, maybe this isn't the best mechanic, you can always still change it. And lastly, actively look for feedback every single day. Ask other people what they think and be ready to receive some not always ideal feedback. So those are some habits that I have. Do you have any other habits that you personally implement? Share them with us in the comments down below. I love to hear from you guys and interact with you guys. If you're new here, we're a bunch of game developers working on our own game Forge Industry, which you can wishlist now today, and we'll be releasing on Steam Next Fest with a demo now June. And we also make these kinds of game dev related content where we give some tips and tricks, where we go behind the scenes of how our life as game developers, and just a bunch of other general game dev related stuff. If that's something you're interested in, be sure to subscribe and leave us a like, as it really helps us out, and you'll get this cool content twice a week. That's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.